What's going on? Today we are interviewing Anthony Ermetz, who is a digital marketer and a music artist mentor. So just like myself, he's helping with artist development, creative content strategy, and much more. In this episode, we dive into so many amazing topics. Originally, this episode was only supposed to be about 30 minutes, but there was so much value and we were having such a great conversation that somehow it turned into almost 2 hours. And this is knowledge you're not really gonna find in a lot of places. So I highly recommend checking out the entire thing. And by the way, if you don't know who I am already, my name is Stafford Beats. I'm a music producer, artist mentor, and creative director. I'm also the founder of Underground Retreats, one of the most viral music camps on the entire internet. I've worked with hundreds of artists over the last few years, so I'm super well versed in music promo, gaining exposure, virality, and all types of other topics. And if you want personal direct help with me, I've got a private artist community where we have live calls every single week talking about high-level music industry topics to help you make it full-time as a musician. If you want to learn more, go ahead and check out the description. With that being said, let's get right into this interview. What have you been working on this week?
This week I'm working on a challenge. So have you ever done a challenge before?
In what sense?
In terms of like a live event? I know you do live events, but like an online event, like a challenge. I don't know if you've seen like Russell Brunson does like the one funnel away challenge, or like Alex Hormozy has the school games challenge, like that type of challenge.
I've seen some of them like pop up, but I haven't really looked too deep into it. I didn't know it was like a whole thing.
Yeah, neither did I. I was actually going through one of these books by Russell Brunson, I think Expert Secrets, and inside of it, he has like different types of funnels you can use. And one of the funnels is the challenge funnel. I was like, wait, we can apply this to the music industry and we could create like this whole event where we have speakers come and talk. And like at the end, we can make some type of offer to actually help people out. And that's like what I've been working on this week,
Oh,
basically
that's awesome.
trying to build a challenge.
What's the challenge going to be, if you don't mind sharing?
I don't have the exact name for it yet. Maybe like the whole promise is to make your first dollar selling direct to fans. Like the whole promise is like
hmm
when you come to this challenge, we can guarantee that by the end, you're going to make your first dollar outside of streams.
Okay, that's awesome. And is that mostly going to be like through your fan funnel method?
Yeah, using the fan funnel ideally, but anyone who has an audience already has the ability to use it. We're using it. We partnered with a company called Kaizen. They're kind of like Even. Have you heard of Even by like the Russell?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Another one I'm not super familiar with though.
Okay, so just to give you some background, what Kaizen's able to do, they've already worked with artists like Kennedy Ryan, who I talk about a lot of my channel. Basically, they allow you to sell direct to fans. So they've basically taken everything like ManyChat. They have DM automation side of their platform. They have email automation, text automation. Like they integrated Laylo, and Patreon. Basically, they have their own membership tiers you can do. You can host live events. There's a lot of stuff you can do inside of Kaizen. And what we're going to want to do is take artists and help them sell early access to the music or sell their music directly. And that's how they're going to make their first dollar. We're going to teach them like, hey, this is how to use it. This is the step by step. It's very simple. We're going to give them free, like a free trial to the paid plan. It's not even publicly available to artists yet. So this will be the first time like a lot of people get access to this with this challenge. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see how more people are starting to get on that wave of selling direct to fan. Before we talk about that though, would you mind kind of just talking about like some of the things that you've done before and just give like a little introduction to you and your world on the side of music marketing?
Yeah, I guess for me, I'm a music producer, right? I love making music. It's what I like when I was in 2016, 2017. I remember like me and my friends were being like, can I curse on here?
Yeah, yeah, you're good.
We're being like stupid head asses, whatever. And we were in the car freestyling to beats on YouTube. And I remember looking down at my phone and I was like, holy shit, this beat is ass. It's got like 3 million views. Like, what? I like this guy's probably making good money from this. And I was like, I wonder what it actually takes to make music and make beats. And so I looked it up and I remember watching this one video by Metro Boomin. It's like the Razer video. He was sponsored by
Oh
Razer.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel
I
like every
remember that
music
one.
producer, yeah, has seen this. And he's talking about like how when he was in school, he would stay up to like 2 a.m. making beats all the time. He'd be making beats at school, and like that's how he got good at it. I was like, well, dude, if this guy could do it, I could do it. And so I and got my first pirated copy of FL Studio at my friend's house and started making beats. And from there, I like fell in love with it. And eventually, when I later got to college, right before that, I was like, I want to make this a career because I started working with my first artist. And in doing that, I realized I had no idea what I was doing in marketing. I was like, I have good beats. Like they were good enough. Nobody was buying them. The artist I was working with had great music. That's when I came into contact with 7 a.m., which is like one of the bigger artists I work with. He had great music. Nobody was listening to it. And if they were, he wasn't getting paid for it. Stuck in between a lot of bad deals. And all the artists I was talking with are stuck in bad deals. And eventually I signed my first deal. And it was, guess what? A bad fucking deal. And all the like music that I worked on, or I had credits with, like I didn't get paid a single dollar from them because I had no idea how the music business worked. And I was like, all right, screw this. Let me go and learn marketing. And so that's when I invested in my first mentorship programs to learn marketing. And I started taking classes in university on marketing, even though I was a chemistry major. They let me into those. And yeah, I just hated it at first, but eventually I fell in love with it. And now I'm like, this is what needs to happen because the music industry is a big fucking scam. They have it. So
Literally.
all the independent artists are at the bottom and all the money goes up to the people who are at the top at the major labels and the streaming CEOs, right? And so I was like, yeah, it doesn't need to be like this anymore. There is another path that nobody knows about that they don't want you to know about. And so my mission is to spread that news and show that there is a better way.
That's amazing. I love that you're a music producer because that's kind of like where I got my start as well, was music
Yeah.
production. And I think it's so weird. Like as somebody who's kind of escaped the producer bubble, it becomes like more and more clear how many producers just don't know anything about the music industry besides sell beat to artists. So
Yes.
I would love to talk a little bit about that as well, and kind
Let's
of
talk
like
about it.
some steps that producers can take to start getting into this space as well. Because as a music producer, when I was like super deep into that space, literally all I'm thinking about is collabing with other producers, sending beats to artists, getting placements, and then fighting for a cut that I knew nothing about, like logistically how it comes into play. Um,
Yeah.
and also like what kind of value you're actually able to add as a producer that also knows how to market.
That's the big thing. And I fell into that trap too. I remember I got my first like sync placement for it was like really small. It wasn't anything big. It was like a really small, like underground movie placement. But they had a budget for production. And I remember I didn't have like a manager. I was signed to this like garbage label thing. And I didn't see any money from that either. I think they lied to me about what actually happened. But I remember like watching it and hearing my song. I'm like, why didn't I get paid for this? Like I'm so confused and like nobody could give me clear answers on stuff. And it's like, yeah, and even when I got my first like placements with artists, I didn't know like, okay, do I charge an upfront fee? What's the percent on the back end? What's the difference between an exclusive and non-exclusive license? How do I do a split sheet? All these things start coming up that you have no idea about that nobody is there to teach you. And I think nowadays, like compared to 10 years ago, there's more resources out on YouTube, which is great. Like people are a little bit more aware, but it's still a problem from people that I've talked to about like they just don't know. You just don't know until you have to find out the hard way.
No, definitely. What would you say are some steps that producers can take to get a little bit more involved in like the marketing side? And especially for producers that are like not wanting to make that like their main thing, but just like a couple little things they can do to help artists like maybe make content or promote their music a little bit more.
So artists looking to add value, I mean, producers looking to add value to artists. That's the
Right.
question. I think it depends on what you're passionate about. So, like for you specifically, you're also a creative director, right? Like you are passionate, I can assume, about filming and editing in the creative process, right?
Right.
That's not something I'm passionate about. Like I I hate that. Like nothing against that. I respect the hell out of it. But for me, like that makes me like that drains my energy. And so it depends on what you like. Find what you also like. Like for me, I really like marketing. I love marketing. I love talking about it. I love learning about it. And so that's where I feel like I can add my value. And so for someone else, it's like, well, what else do you feel like you can add value to? If that's being a creative director or helping shoot the content or editing the reels, or whether that's marketing too, go invest in that. Invest in someone who's 10 steps ahead of you, figure out how they got to where they are, and then go add value to the people that you're working with, right?
Yeah,
I feel like the
100%.
simplest answer.
Yeah, definitely. I also want to add on that it's important to think about like who your team is as well and kind of using that same like mindset of like, okay, what am I good at? What do I love doing? And then how do I team up with the people who love doing and are good at doing the things that I don't like doing and am not good at. And I think that's something that's starting to become a lot more relevant now too, is like people are starting to realize that like a team is everything. Uh,
Yeah.
there's this amazing artist. I'm pretty sure he's local to Orlando. I know he lives in Orlando right now. I don't know for sure if he's from Orlando. Isaiah Falls. Have you heard of him?
Oh yeah, with Diva, I think is one of his songs.
Yeah,
Florida Baby.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Butterflies. Yeah. So
Butterflies. Yeah.
it's so amazing seeing his team. I think he's one of the best examples of an artist. It's like a little bit smaller right now, but is just doing everything so right. And he's got such an amazing team between the producers and the videographers, and everybody kind of like fits into the puzzle so perfectly. So if there's somebody listening that wants to see like a technical way of how this is working, definitely look into some of the things that he's doing, because he's doing a fucking fantastic job at that.
That's a great example. Also, in that same kind of niche, in terms of like the content side of things, is for Kari or for Carrie, however you say his name.
Yes.
He
Yeah,
has very similar content. Like they all use the same type of pillar of content there, and their music is kind of similar too.
100%. What kind of insight would you have into different types of content that artists are making and kind of like how to find your pillar, so to speak?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is looking at first understanding who your audience is. And so we make music for us. Okay, don't get that twisted. Like we make music for us. Don't think about anybody else. Like you make music for you. You have to love your product before anybody else can love it. So that's the first step. And then after that, then we can think anything outside of that is marketing. So then you think about who's my target audience. We call it in our community like your one true fan. And so when you understand who that is, down to the deepest, darkest details of like what their fears are, why are they staying up at night? Like, what are they thinking about? What car do they drive? What's their relationship status? What's their education? Where do they live? What's their name? Like, all of these things you need to know because that's going to help you best serve them. And in terms of the content, you want to help relate to the specific emotions or experiences that they're going through right now. That's what always works the best. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that. Like you can do different types of hooks, like the Snapchat transition hook is pretty big now, where people take a hook of a Snapchat and they have like the Snapchat caption and they transition to the performance video. That works really well right now. But at the end of the day, your hook just needs to relate to them on some level in terms of their emotion or experience.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's what a lot of artists miss is creating like an actual emotional value to their content as well. I think there's so many people that are like trying to teach content right now and they just teach a lot of the technicals. Like, okay, you gotta shoot where it looks like this. You have to make it look super cinematic. But what a lot of people don't realize is the why behind why it should be cinematic or why it should look a certain way. Like there's so many artists that have had content blow up that's like just from their phone and it's like super lightly edited and they're literally not even doing a performance clip. They just have a bunch of text on the screen. And then there's some that will plan out one single reel for like a week and try to execute it in this super amazing way. But really the key differentiator there is just figuring out like what emotion you want your audience to feel and figuring out like the best way to portray it. So it's really great that you said that. Um, what would you say are like some of the different like core content pillars that artists can kind of look towards when they're trying to build an audience?
Well, there's like the vibe pillar, for example, is basically what Kari and Isaiah Falls do, where they have their song in the background. And then on top of that is a lot of different like 1 to 2 second clips of either lifestyle footage or stock videos. So if we even pulled up their page right now, I don't know if we can do that. You can see that that's what they're doing. And they have in the middle of the screen is the lyrics. And they're not even like a part of it. It's not a performance clip. It's just like stock footage in the background. People are also doing this with video game footage or cartoon, like anime footage, where they have like a hook at the top and they just have the footage in the middle and the song playing in the background. And that way you're meeting people with something that they already know and like. And then also in the background, subtly is your song. And eventually someone's going to comment like, yo, what song is this? Like, this song is fire. And that's when you have permission to be like, hey, this is my song. Check it out here. Like DM me this word, I'll send you the song. That's where you can start to use something like the fan funnel system to market or promote your music.
Oh, for sure. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. I think we can do that with the recording. Pull it up here. Can you see it?
It's sharing right now. Yes.
So this is an artist that I worked with for like 2 or 3 weeks straight on some content ideas.
Hmm.
And he's literally the perfect example of what you were talking about because we mixed a little bit of those like lifestyle vibe clips and then some anime clips. And this is the result. We had like 13.6 million, 600,000, 3.6 million. And
Is that
this
organic?
artist, oh yeah, yeah,
Oh,
Euro,
yeah.
Euro paid marketing.
Good fucking job, guys. That's awesome.
So he had this was his most recent video before I started working with him. And I think all of these videos had like 500 views, like maybe like 2,000 on like one or two of them. And
Hmm.
he also only had 1,000 followers, and now he's at 159K. Um, and yeah, that's exactly what we did. I sleep at 3 a.m. And yeah, literally from that day, 2 weeks later, he was at like 80,000 followers or something like that. And his songs are now like tens of millions of streams each. It's
Can you bring
crazy.
that up again? Because last night in
Yeah.
our community call, a lot of people had questions about visual identity, which I feel like is something that's not talked about. But I think this is a good example because he's got the bag. You can't ignore that shit. He's got a
Oh
bag
yeah.
over his
No,
head.
he's got
What's
this shit
the
perfect.
what's the idea behind that? Did you come up with that? Did he like what was the thought process? Because that's really good.
No, so that's something that he already kind of had going for him. Um, I don't know that it was like I'm pretty sure it was a newer thing for him because he's been making music for years. I found out when I started working with him that I had actually like produced a song for a couple of the people that he had worked with like years and years before, and that like we used to talk like twice and just never ended up doing anything. And his whole everything shifted when he came up with this visual identity. Obviously the music got better too. He found a style with the music, but he's just created such a perfect brand around it, and it's like I don't know, it's the most easily identifiable brand that I've ever worked on with an artist. This is literally just bag on the head and then like really like sleepy clothes, I guess you could say, where it's like it's usually not like jeans or streetwear or anything like that. He's always wearing pajamas. He's always like carrying the ukulele around. But yeah, the bag on the head is 100% like the most important part to it.
Dude, that's cool. Dude, the wedding video, that's catching my eye.
Oh, for
I've
sure.
been thinking about you way too much. I tried to stop it, but it's hard to stop the.
Yeah, we've done so many cool ones recently. So that was his label videographer. And by the way, I don't know that I can say like exactly how much he got signed for after this, but these kind of helped get the attention of this label called Broke Records, and he signed to them for a very high figure.
Hey, let's go. Was it a good deal?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no,
Okay.
it was a great deal. I've never seen a small artist get that much for a deal ever before. Like it was like actually an insane number.
And that's why content is so powerful because that gives you the power and the leverage to walk into the room of a label where they need you more than you need them. So then you can negotiate a good deal like that. Obviously, having lawyers and stuff behind that too is probably helpful, but that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's such a win.
Just to put it this way too, do you know Promoting Sounds?
Yeah.
So Promoting Sounds had done a promo with them on that song, and as part of the deal, they sold their 50% of that song for six figures.
Let's
So
go. Let's
so
go.
yeah.
That's amazing. You
So
love to see it.
yeah, no, it's fucking crazy. But yeah, I mean that's the powerful of having or that's the power of having, you know, such a crazy visual identity and having something that's like very easily recognizable. Because now, like anytime somebody sees a paper bag that looks like that, like he's gonna be the first person that they think of every
Yep.
single time if they're a big fan of his. And you see those kind of bags literally everywhere.
Yeah. 100%.
I think another thing to add on to it too is that not only does it work because it's very identifiable, but it's also something that fans can kind of impersonate very easily, if that makes sense.
Are they putting bags on their head?
Well, the thing is, they could, right? They're they're like it's something that's very easy to make something similar, right? Like there's not like I don't know, if you have an artist like Sabrina Carpenter, it's like she's got a really cool visual identity, and if you do your makeup in her style, it's not like obviously it's going to be hard to be on that same level that she does it, but to an extent you can. But then there's some artists that have brands where it's like it looks really cool, but you might not be able to replicate it yourself.
Yeah.
But if you can, and it feels like human and normal and something easy to put together, then a lot of times they can have like a reference or whatever. Like sometimes in people's discords or in his discord, people will send like a picture of a random paper bag and be like, "Oh, look, I found Merino in the wild," you know?
That's funny. I guess that poses a question of like, as an artist, how do you come up with that? Like, where do you steal inspiration from? And I guess that's where it just comes down to being creative. Yeah. Like, I would want to know how he got that idea because it's so
Yeah, I
simple.
I have no idea where he came up with it, but from the artists that I've been working with, the process I've been using is just trying to find things that are like kind of natural to you already. Like the way that I would describe it to an artist that's like never focused on branding before and trying to figure out how their brand should be or whatever is just figure out how to make like an overly dramatized version of you. So like whatever something is that you already kind of resonate with, just really try to enhance that and like kind of go
I like
OD
that.
on it. So it's like if you feel like you're always, wearing a mask or something like that, then that could lead to the idea of having like the paper bag, and then the X eyes could just be like, a random creative touch, but it's just an over dramatized or like a personified way of putting something into practice that's like already natural to you.
That's really good. I've actually never thought about that much in depth. I kind of always push visual identity and like branding to the side. It's like, hey, we need to focus on like the more foundational stuff first. But I think now, since there's a lot more people in the space, like, I mean, Marino's a great example of like, if you just have something different about you, it's gonna work wonders for you. So probably
Oh, for
something
sure.
for me to go and think about more.
No, definitely. That's probably one of my core values for artist development is trying to help them come up with like a style. It's been definitely a more recent thing, like in the last like 3 to 6 months, I would say, because that's when I started working with Marino more, as well as some
Mhm.
other artists that just do that very well. And it could be super simple. Like a lot of artists really spend too much time trying to overthink it, but there doesn't have to be like some crazy thing that sets you apart, just something that makes you identifiable and really like figuring out how to put an emphasis on it rather than like just creating something brand new from scratch. Like it can be as simple as this one guy that I know who's really great at content. His name is Murado. He's an I met him on Instagram. He's in LA, and literally all he does is he has ski goggles that he wears like on the side of his head, and
Yeah,
that's his brand. Have you seen him before?
we talked about him last night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, and that's literally all he does. Like that's his visual
that's it.
identity. And it doesn't have to be like the same the whole time that you're an artist either. Like,
Right.
Marino might not have the bag forever. Maybe like eventually it'll shift over time as he does new projects and enters new stages. A really great example of somebody who does that is Billie Eilish. Like she changes her hair color with every album, you
Dude,
know?
I'm getting deja vu. Like this is literally the same conversation. We also brought up like Tizo touchdown. Like at first he had
Yes.
like the nails. Now no. And it's like we still love him for him.
Yeah.
Like these
And
are
and
phases that you can go through. That's not who you are.
exactly. Yeah, 100%.
That's
It's so
good.
funny. Tizo's manager is like one of my closest mentors.
Really?
Yeah,
That's sick.
yeah. It's very reflective of the things that we're talking about too. Like I had a conversation with him probably a couple weeks ago about like just the bare bones minimum like basics to being a manager, like what kind of things you should try to focus on. And the first thing he said was just make sure you find their community, like you find their audience, you find who is actually listening to the music, who likes it, and like everything else is a lot easier once you figure that out.
Harry, I actually had a question for you on this. So, obviously, through underground retreats and what you're doing, you're coming into contact with a lot of artists and you've been able to work with a lot of artists up to this point in your career. What for you stands out for someone is to like, okay, this person has more likely of a chance to be successful than not? Like, what are the key things that you would probably want to look for, or as an artist, someone should focus on more?
Mm, that's a great question. I think that it sounds so funny. It sounds so Gen Z, but aura. Having good aura as an artist is literally the thing that sets you apart. Like it's such an oversimplification of it, but it really just comes down to like your interactions with people as well as like your visual identity, right? Like I've seen so many artists and for the longest time I just kind of like had a gut feeling about some, and that was before like I got into marketing and like trying to study like how artists make it and everything like that. Like just as a producer, just as when I started hosting these events early on and wasn't focused on that. Like it's just sometimes like you feel an artist a little bit more, right? And what I've noticed over time is that it just has to do with the way that you present yourself and the way that you act and the way that your music sounds, like all of that kind of fits together into one bigger puzzle, right? Like I manage this artist Mars Faye, very very talented singer, melodic rapper from the UK, and when she came to my retreat at this last one, we went to a studio the first day, like before we checked into the retreat, and I went to an event at that studio probably like 2 or 3 months later, and a couple of the interns were asking me like, "Oh, how's Mars doing?" Like, whatever. And it was so shocking to me because they'd only met her like one time, and it like really wasn't that big of a deal. We were like there for like 30 minutes just talking, whatever. She wrote some stuff, and then we left, and that was it because we had to check into the place. And
Mhm.
I was asking them about it, and they're like, "I don't know, man. She just like had like a really memorable presence and like she just held herself a certain way." And it's like it's such a testament to personal branding. I kind of hate throwing around the word personal branding because it's so like fucking
Yeah.
guru influencer catchphrase right now. But personal branding should be like an element and not like your entire thing. Um, but this is where it kind of comes into play. So personal branding comes down to a lot of different factors, which is like one, how you look, two, how you talk, three, the music or the content or the art that you put out. Like there's so many different aspects to it, but it's literally like if somebody were to watch a video of you, what are the things that they're going to notice? Are they going to notice that you're a very hyper person? Are you very high energy? Are you low energy? Do you talk a lot? Are you like chill and mysterious? Like what defines you, right? So when you pair that with that visual identity and you make that visual identity something that's like memorable, it's just a lot easier for you to be understood as an artist. And that's really what it's all about, is figuring out how somebody can understand you the easiest, because people need alley oops these days to understand what a song is about, or
Yeah.
what an artist is about. And that's what I've really been hyper focused on lately, is like how do you just kind of tell them like, okay, this is how you're supposed to feel without like actually telling them that. And it comes
Right.
down to how you make the content, kind of like what we were talking about, the content pillars. And yeah, it's a crazy process, but when you figure it all out, it just makes you stick out so much more as an artist.
I think something you said there that's very much key is who you are. Because at the end of the day, like how you talk, how you act, like these are things that like, yeah, you can make changes to over time, but it's going to be really hard to just like, if you want to suddenly become like, I feel like I'm a more active, like hyper person most of the time. And I'm not going to just suddenly become cool and mysterious. Like that would be a very drastic change for me and it would feel wrong. It would feel inauthentic to who I am. Like I would just be like feeling fake all the time. And so as an artist, it's not more so looking at these things and be like, who do I want to be? Like maybe that's helpful. It's more so like, who am I? And then how can I show that to people? And like just be
Exactly.
the best version of myself. And what branding is, it's not who you want to be. It's how other people perceive you. Like you said, like someone will perceive you as this way. That's your brand. And the more impressions you make, the more people perceive you. Like they're going to all perceive you different ways, but overall it's going to be in alignment with who you are, which is the whole fucking point. Like you said, getting people to know who you are as easy as possible and
Yeah.
why you do what you do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole challenge. But I think honestly that whole aspect of it as a musician is like 60% of the battle. Like, of course, you need to be consistent, you need to have good music, but the whole thing is there's so many people out there, there's so much content, there's so many musicians, there's like 60,000 songs being posted to Spotify every week.
Right.
So if you're able to stand out, then already you've got such an advantage, because even if you make amazing music, even if you're very consistent, if you look like everybody else, you act like everybody else, you make the same type of content as everybody else, it doesn't matter if your music is way better. Like, unless it's at like a stupidly insane good level, which 99.999% of music is
It's
not
not.
enough to carry itself,
Right.
no matter how good it is. Uh, Without all of that, like, you don't stand out, and you're forgettable. And with social media, it's all about figuring out how to make people think of you and how to remember you. Like, everybody is saying right now that attention is the most valuable currency, and it's because the more attention you get in the fucking flood wave of other content and other people and other musicians, like, why does somebody want to pay attention to you instead of everything else that's going on? Because there's somebody out there that makes better music than you. There's somebody that looks cooler than you. There's somebody that has more followers than you. There's somebody that, someone else's friends are talking about way more. So what can you do to get in that conversation and stick out?
Do you want to know what the number one thing is that you have that nobody else does that makes you unique?
What's that?
It's your story. I don't know how you're going to feel about that,
I
but
believe it.
it's your story. Like nobody else has your story, your experience, right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing. And so if you're able to communicate that, it doesn't matter how you communicate it, but if you're able to communicate that, even like I saw you post in the broadcast channel the other day of like an introduction post, like a start here. This is my story. This is why I do what I do.
Literally.
That's so fucking important, right?
Mhm.
I have people who I've never met before in my life who know everything about me because they've read my emails where I tell my story, or they've seen my posts and like, wow, I really fucking resonate with that. I've never met this person in my life, but they already know me on a level that like they could never know me at if I didn't communicate my story. And so it's the same thing with artists. If you are not communicating your story, then you are like everybody else. You can have the best music, but like, who the fuck cares? Because you're the same. You're a commodity.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's part of, like, I guess community building is the best way to put it, because at the end of the day, if you look at it psychologically, people people just want to be part of something. They want to be part of communities, they want to be part of movements, like they want to fit in, and they want to, have their group of people that they resonate with. That's why, like, politics is such a popular thing, regardless
Yeah.
if a lot of people actually know a lot about politics or not. They're going to latch onto a party because they want to feel included. They want to feel like they're important to the betterment of society. So
Yeah.
if you can make your fans and your viewers feel very involved in you and your life and what you're doing, then that's a game changer. And one of the things that I'm also really passionate about is making sure that as a smaller artist, you are interacting with your fans as much as humanly possible, because the number one thing that I hear from fans that listen to the Underground Retreats music, or like find my music randomly or whatever, the number one response that sticks out to me is when they're like, "Oh my gosh, like, you actually respond to the people listening to your music," or like, "Wow, you actually want us to be involved." And it's so crazy that that's a surprise to them, because I mean, it's not crazy because everybody's trying to act like an influencer, and they're trying to act like they're this
Hollywood.
like larger than life figure. And
Yeah.
even if your brand and your persona is being quote unquote larger than life, like, that's the brand, that's not you.
It
And
makes
there's
it even
still
more
some
powerful when you
separation.
reach out.
Yeah,
Even if
exactly.
you are that way, it makes it so much more like this person reached out to me.
Exactly. Like Black Bear's the person that is responsible or partially responsible for Black Bear's success is also the same guy I was telling you about earlier, Tizo's manager. And he said that when Black Bear was coming up, like before he was called Matt Musto, he's like songwriter. He's doing his own like singer songwriter kind of thing, and he was telling Tabari about how he wants to be this larger than life figure called Black Bear, and he wants to have this huge brand. He wants to play at Coachella and all this stuff, but what he never skipped out on was including people in the things that he's doing and like having a lot of fan interactions and being very active on like Twitter and responding to people. And that was his whole thing. And that's why he grew such a close connection with so many people. I mean, he was my favorite artist for like years when I was in high school. Probably from when I was like 15 to when I was like 20. He was my number one favorite artist. I literally have a tattoo of like his song lyrics, and that never would have happened if there wasn't some level of fan interaction. I remember when I got the tattoo, he liked it on Twitter, and I was like, "Holy shit! Like this is the craziest thing that's ever happened."
Yeah.
But it's such a little thing that you can do as an artist, and if you're able to deliver in a way that the fans feel included like that, that changes everything. That's why your fan funnel system is so crucial, because even if it is like automated messages at first or whatever, like it involves them in some type of way, and it gets them interested, and it makes them think about you more, and it makes them feel more connected with you.
Right. 100%. And one thing you said there is fan interaction, which brought me to think about like La Russell, who's really big right
Yes.
now. If you look at all of his content, there's not a whole lot of music performance videos. It's all fan interaction moments or him having a
Yes.
moment with his friends, like grilling in the backyard with the song playing, like they're just having a good time. And it's so refreshing to see that stuff. And maybe not everybody can do that. Maybe that doesn't fit into like who you want to be. But for the majority of people, I think it does, where like you want to be able to share those moments on social media of that fan interaction. One thing too, we actually had multi-season, one of our artists, he was never interacting with fans. And he told me that he's got like 150K or something like that. I was like, are you talking to people? Like, do you respond to comments? Are you DMing people? No. I was like, why? Why? He couldn't give me any good reason why. I was like, dude, what I want you to do right now is for an hour a day, everybody who follows you, DM them a message. Hey, dude, I really appreciate the follow. Like, however you want to word it. I appreciate the follow. Like, what made you want to follow? Like, why, yeah, why'd you want to follow? What song do you like? Just ask and start a conversation, and you'll be surprised how many people are like, holy shit, is this real? Are you actually reaching out to me? Dude, I fucking love you. And you start building up relationships. Not only that, but that's where, as an artist, you can start to leverage that conversation and get data. It's like, okay, what's your favorite song? What specifically about my content do you like or not like? You can even get on a quick 5-minute phone call with these guys and be like, hey, dude, I just want to say I appreciate you so much. Would it be okay if I asked you a couple of questions just so I can better serve you? These small little things that people don't think about make the biggest fucking difference. I do it myself. Like, everybody should do it, no matter what niche you are.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, some of the artists that I see that do it best is like they'll post a story saying like swipe up if you want to FaceTime me, and I'm gonna pick like 10 people to FaceTime, and then they take like some screen recordings or screenshots of those interactions or whatever, and then post them on their story. Like that kind of thing is just it's so good to see
That's
artists doing
smart.
that. Yeah, dude.
Who did that? I've never seen that. That's really fucking smart.
Um, the one of the people that does it a lot is this artist 10%. He's signed to CMG. He's got songs with like Moneybag Yo and Yo Gotti and a few other people. Super dope artist. I'm working with him on like development and content right now. But that's one thing that I noticed about him from the start is like he's a rapper and he makes like pain music and he makes like hard rap stuff, and it's so cool to see somebody like in that market being so invested in their fans as well, because that's like the number one type of artist. Like rappers are like the number one artists to not be super interactive with their fans and act Hollywood and act like they're too cool to do all this shit.
Yeah.
But he's somebody that really taps into that, and that's like such a great thing for him, and because of that he's got a really great fan base. But yeah, that's something he does once in a while. He's just like, hey, like swipe up if you want to FaceTime me. and then he'll just post a bunch of the calls or whatever.
That's a great idea.
For sure. And that's what he does. He'll just like ask about them, see how their day's going, see what music they're liking, like all that. Just make them feel very involved, you know?
And those people probably instantly become super fans too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like boom, instant super fan. Like you got it. They're secured. Wow. Yeah, I'm definitely having people do that. That's such a good idea.
100%. It's cool to see that multi-season is doing good. I haven't seen him in like 2 years. We linked up in LA a couple of
Yeah.
years ago before I got into the marketing stuff, but I haven't heard too much from him since. So it's good to hear that he's on that grind still.
He dropped off, right? So he went through some life stuff and dropped off and got demotivated because he had all this like I guess viral success with his videos and content, and then he tried to change some stuff up, and then it just went downhill. And then like of course he wasn't doing any fan engagement stuff. And so now it's completely different. If you look at his content now, he just started this series called Road to Braids, where he's actually telling stuff about his personal life and telling his story, which is going to create such more connection with him and his fans. So I'm excited to see like the next few months where this takes him.
Oh
It's
yeah,
gonna be good.
100%. That kind of makes me think of another conversation I had with Tabari recently, and it's actually the conversation that sparked everything that I did with Marino, because he put me on to Marino when he started catching some virality in the streaming side, and he was telling me how he's doing really great as a streaming artist, but because of the way that Promoting Sounds does their music, it's like they kind of take all of that responsibility out of the artist's hands and just helps on the back end because that's what they do best. That's like their whole point is to be really fucking good at streaming, right? So they're getting you into playlists and they're doing all this back end stuff and everything like that. But what's missing is the branding and the actual like artist side of artistry, right? So he told me to make sure that he doesn't just become a streaming artist, like somebody who does really well, but like actually start getting fans and actually start, having these interactions and everything. And from that, like we made the content, we made a Discord. He gets on the Discord all the time and is like interacting with people and talking to them and humanizing himself. And it's such a game changer for him. And now that paired with really good streaming stuff, he's exploding.
Yeah. I had a actually question. So for the artists that you're working with, like when you guys are going to use something like the fan funnel system or what you've been doing now, just having a lot of videos get a ton of views, what's the process to get artists to monetize? Is it just like for Marino getting a deal, like signing to deals at the ultimate goal? Like what's the ultimate goal and like how are you going about that?
I don't really have like a set way of getting that. I think a lot of my focus recently has been less on like the monetization side and more on the foundational side. So
Okay.
most of the artists that I work with currently are in a position where they make amazing music, but they have no visual identity and they have
Yeah.
um, like no sense of content and a lot of the times like no fans or like very, very, very few. So I work with a lot of artists and trying to figure out how to get those first fans. I think that's what I'm super passionate about. And now I'm getting a little bit more onto the monetization side. But some of the artists that we've been working with, I've done a little bit of direct sales. But I would say the biggest thing right now is like private communities. I think that's kind of been the thing that's like starting to work for some artists right now. But I also don't think that I've been doing it long enough to really say like what I
It
know
works.
works
It
versus
works.
doesn't. Yeah.
That's fair. I think that's a big thing you said too. Like a huge percentage of artists just don't have the foundations. And it's like, well, you can't monetize. And dude, I fell into this trap too when I was selling beats. I was like, okay, I need to have the best website, the best beat store. I need to make sure like the copy that I write on the page is intriguing and nice and like looks different from everybody else. And I spent all this time working on these things that didn't fucking matter because I
Mhm.
finished. I finished after like a whole year working on this stuff. I finished. I had the website. I was like, yes, I got it. Let's go. I have awesome beats on it. And there was no traffic. There
Right.
was nobody there to buy it. It was like, oh, I forgot about the most important part. Like, how
Mm-hmm.
do I get people to the actual page? Like, you can have the best product. Like, let's say you have a grocery store in the middle of the desert. Nobody's in the desert. So nobody's going to come into the grocery store. You can have the best goddamn grocery store in the world. No one's coming inside because no one knows it's there. And so it's the same thing.
Literally.
You have to let people know that you're there so that they can come inside and see what you have to offer.
Yeah,
That's just the foundations.
you gotta make TikToks about how it's so cool that your grocery store has camels, and now it's a TikTok sensation, and everybody flies from all over the world to be there.
We got camels, bitch.
But yeah, I mean that's what it's all about is just creating a system that works, and then just focusing so much on how you can bring people into your system, and then developing the system over time, like from a strictly marketing standpoint, and not even like music. Like if you're starting a paid community online, or if you're starting like an online preset store, so you're like a video editor that sells assets or whatever, like you can make a stupid Shopify website in like 30 minutes just to get a couple products up. If you have 1 million followers, they're not going to not buy it because your store doesn't look great. But when you
Yeah.
start getting those people and then it's going really well, then you can take the steps to figure out, okay, now that I have all these people, if I make this change now, it's going to up my conversions by like 10-20%. And that 10-20% matters a lot more when there's 1,000 people in your store versus zero. So 100%.
That's yeah.
I'm a big fan of the mindset of I don't really know how to say it in one phrase, but it's like start now, build later. Like just
Yeah.
just start
Imperfect
the thing.
action.
Exactly. Yeah, like that's been my mantra for so long now. It's just like build something out, figure out all the details later, and just figure out how to get as many people as you can invested in it.
That's the best way to go. I wish I knew that earlier too, because there's two types of people. There's the person who's like in motion, who has the whiteboard, and this used to be me, like all the pens and the tacks. They know exactly what they want to do. They have it all planned out. But in doing that and gathering all the information and gathering this step by step, all this time goes by and they haven't made any real progress towards where they want to be. Right. And then when you look at the other person, who is the person who takes action, they just like start now, figure it out later. Literally, that's a perfect way to say that. They just do it. They don't think about it like, all right, I got to start now. I'm going to fail and figure it out later. And through that, yes, you fail over and over and over and over and over and over again. But through those failures, you learn so much quicker. And because of that, the person who takes action, they get to their goals way faster than the person who's in motion. And so you have to ask yourself, like, who do I want to be? You know?
100%. Yeah, I have a real life example of that happening right before my eyes before I learned that concept. And it's back when I was helping a lot of producers set up like kit stores. So I was like
Mhm.
building out these Shopify sites for them and making them look all nice and everything. And I was talking to this producer, Prod by Infinite, who didn't really have a store. He had like just all of his kits on BeatStars or something like
Yeah.
that. And I was telling him about how he's got to make this like crazy Shopify site, like add in all these cool things, whatever. He ended up building a site in like a day. It looked super generic. And I was talking to him. I was like, man, like you could upgrade this and this and this, and you probably install this app and it'll like do pretty well. He's like, yeah, I'll think about it. And he was just making hella YouTube videos. And then within like 2 weeks, he was doing like double the sales in my store. And I was like, that makes sense. But another thing too is if you are starting something like a paid community, or you're starting some kind of like direct to fan sales strategy or whatever, it's so important that you implement this, because you could also build out something for like 6 months and then come to find out nobody even wants it because they don't find it to be valuable enough, or they don't think it's worth it or whatever. It's like when I started my paid community, I took into mind that mindset, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna build it. I didn't even have my first course launched yet. I probably spent like 2 days working on it, and I just launched it because I knew so many people wanted to be part of it, and it helped me understand what they like and don't like. But if I didn't do that first, I just spent the last like 6 months building it out and doing all these different things. Come to find out that nobody liked the price point, nobody liked the structure of it. That I'm like, well, fuck, I just wasted the last six
6 months.
months,
Yeah.
not even knowing if there was a market interest at all. And artists can relate to that by figuring out like what kind of service they want to offer, whether it's like selling features or whether you're building a community or like whatever thing that you're gonna do, just start it. Just just start, figure out all the rest of the details later. It's gonna be so much more effective.
And if you don't know the answer to a question, like you said, ask your audience. So,
Yeah.
like for example, Kenny Ryan, like she was selling merch a couple months back. She didn't know what design to pick. And so she literally put in her broadcast channel, hey, you guys asked me for merch. Here's 5 designs. Vote which one you like. Okay, they voted. Okay, how much would you pay for this design? $30,
Literally.
$40, $50. They vote. Great. How many do you want to buy? And just ask them every single question. Even when it comes to selling music direct. Hey, if I drop this song, would you pay $2 for it? If I get 1,000 yeses, I'll drop the song. And then you're just pre-validating all the marketing that you do before you do it. Even for her show, she
Mm-hmm.
asked like, what's the number one thing that you guys want to see from a live performance? Like, what's the most important thing to you? And just asking your audience, because it's gonna be different for everybody. But if you get like, you're gonna start to get so much data from your fans, you'll know exactly what they want, and that helps you better serve them. And it pre-validates all the work before you even go ahead and do it. Because like you said, you could spend 6 months thinking you're building the best goddamn thing in the world, but come to find out, maybe nobody wants it. Maybe like, because that's what maybe you want. You got to figure out what your audience wants. So good.
100%. One little gem I want to add in as well that I discovered recently, kind of on that note, is about how to find the perfect pricing for something like that as well. So when you're doing these surveys and you're asking people like how much they would pay for something, that kind of thing, I don't think it would necessarily relate to direct to fan like song sales, because usually like $1 or $2 is pretty solid for that.
Yeah.
But anything that's like a community, merch, shows, literally anything that has like a little bit of a higher value, instead of asking them how much they would pay for it, because a lot of times they're gonna lowball the fuck out of it. They're gonna be like, oh, I pay like $20, right? Because it's what's like comfortable for them. But instead, you ask them 4 questions. You ask them, one, what is a price that would be so low that it just wouldn't seem worth it to you? What is a price that would seem like kind of comfortable, but like not crazy for you? What would be pushing it just a little bit, but like the highest you would actually pay? And then what would be such a high price point that it would no longer be worth it to you? And then you get the average of like all of those, and you've got a pretty good idea of where your pricing can be.
That is really good. Where did you get that from?
It was they referenced another podcast in this podcast I just listened to. Let me find the name of it, because it is actually the single most knowledgeable podcast episode I've probably ever listened to in my life. It was actually insane.
Dang.
It was from the Huberman Lab. Have you heard of that?
Yeah. Okay. So it was from that
It's
podcast?
Yeah, it's his interview with Dr. Adam Grant, how to unlock your potential, motivation, and unique abilities, and it literally insane value in there. Like I've never been so invested into a single podcast episode before, but that one I was like, I literally need to go on an hour-long drive just so I have an excuse to listen to the rest of this, because it's so value packed, and I'll probably listen to it like 2 or 3 more times. But they're talking about like motivation and like the psychology behind all of the different like business endeavors you have, and like, yeah, you just got to check it out.
Dude, I don't know how you're gonna take this. I don't know how you're gonna take this, but take it as a compliment. You are so passionate about this, which is why you're successful, right? Like I can just tell,
For
and
sure.
anyone listening, like you're nerding out about this. And you even said you're gonna go and listen to this 2 or 3 more times. Like you're the type of people that I want to be around. Like I fucking love that. That's so refreshing to hear. Like, because most people, they don't have time for to listen to podcasts. They want to listen to music instead, which is fine. Like I listen to music, but like they would rather do something more comfortable. They don't care about that. They're more worried about what sucks at work or what they're gonna eat for lunch and shit. Like all these random things that don't matter, but you're passionate about this. You're a nerd about this, which is why you're successful. And that's why people are successful. The person who likes to walk the most, like, what's the fucking quote? You know what I'm trying to say? The person who enjoys walking walks more than the person who doesn't, right? They walk farther.
Yeah, farther than the person that is just trying to like reach the end goal or something like that.
Yeah, that's somewhat the quote. But
No, for
you
sure.
obviously
They actually
enjoy
referenced
it.
that in that podcast as well. Damn, I might have to get back to you on exactly what they said, but they put it so well. It was just like one of the many gems that were in that. It was insane.
The reason I brought that up though is like for anyone who's not super passionate, because there are people that I speak to, it's like that's the number one question I ask, like, hey, is your goal to do music full time? Like, is this something you're truly passionate about? Because if it's not, this is a very tall mountain you're trying to climb, right? It's a very tall mountain. Okay. And so you're gonna want to quit like 3 times a month. It's hard. And so if this isn't something that you know you want 100%, give it up. There's no shame in that. Find something you are passionate about and go all in on that. It's so important. If you don't have that passion behind it, you're not going to win. You're
Yeah,
going to quit.
there's nothing wrong with music being a hobby. I think
No, there's not. It's therapeutic. Do
yeah,
that. It's okay.
it's crazy. Like hobbies seem to be like dead in 2025 because every time somebody gets into a hobby and they look up, like something about like how to do it well or whatever, like nothing wrong with wanting to improve even if it's just a hobby, but they'll look into that and the first thing they're saying is, I just made $10,000 doing this. This could be your full-time thing. Like, oh, you wanna do golf full-time? Well, you could put your whole fucking life savings into mentorships and then start teaching other people how to do it and build this business around it. It's like, dude, I just want to play golf and I just
Right.
want to improve my stroke a little bit. Like that's all I'm trying to do, right? But it's such a thing that's pushed so heavily. So I'm trying to be like the anti stance to that. It's like it's totally fine for something to be a hobby because even like I swear to God, I'm the most passionate person about like music and music marketing that I know, and I still want to quit like every 2 weeks. I'm like, man, I'm gonna go to
Yes.
fucking electricity school and learn how to do a trade because it's like then I don't have to think so much. But like you're gonna face that in everything you do, and there's gonna be so many challenges. And I guess the reason I want to say that is just speaking to the people who know that they're passionate about music and because I know I've been in cases where like I know I'm passionate about music and then I'll hear somebody talk about it and they'll talk about how passionate they are and it seems like on a surface level that they're just like it just comes naturally to them every day they wake up and they want to do it and like while it's partially true there are so many challenges and no matter what you do there's going to be things that you don't like about it so just because there's some things that you don't like about it doesn't necessarily mean you're not passionate about it but it's actually whether or not you're able to bounce back from those moments and whether you're able to keep pushing that to me defines like whether or not you're actually passionate about something like I'll go through these phases where I'm like, man, fuck this. I want to go learn how to be a chef or something. And then the next day I wake up, I'm like, yeah, I'm a fucking idiot. I'm gonna go make a beat.
Yeah, I think that's good. There's this book that you mentioned some earlier in the conversation about having a team and how important it is to have a team because you want to find people who are passionate about the stuff that you're not totally excited about. Like for me, that's editing. Like I think we talked about that before. And so there's this book that I wish I had this earlier, but it's called Buy Back Your Time. I forgot who it's
Yeah.
by, but it's a blue cover. Buy that. Everyone should who's listening, buy that book because it'll teach you how to divvy up like what are the tasks that you enjoy that also help you make money and move your business forward as an artist and what tasks are not those and figure out like it'll teach you how much you're worth, what your hour costs, how to actually hire people and outsource stuff and build a team, right? What you should give to other people, what you should keep for yourself so that you can have the happiest, healthiest life as a creative person. Really, really good. Like
That's
it
beautiful.
sucks. I'm just having this realization now. Literally, it's like I tried to wear. I'm just now having this realization. I've been trying to wear all the hats myself, and it's like, why can I not grow more? Because I'm doing it all by myself. Like, yeah. So anyone else who's in that same boat, give it up, man. Whatever it is that you're not passionate about, let someone else do it. It's okay.
No, for sure. I am was I guess in that exact same boat like 3 to 6 months ago. Like I feel like in the last 3 months, like my whole perspective on everything has changed. But I think a lot of that had to do with hiring people and trusting outsourcing. Because that was my whole thing is like it's not necessarily because I wanted to wear all the hats, but I just wanted to get really good at them because I found very early on that you can't rely on a lot of people. So I was always like scared to hire, scared to outsource and like put people on a team. But somebody told me something that like kind of changed my perspective on that. And I think it actually came from that book. I haven't read the book yet, but so many people have recommended it to me. I'm gonna do it now.
Good.
But but somebody told me that when you hire somebody or you outsource something, like they only need to be 70% as good as you at it to do it well, or to do it at a level that's like profitable for your time and your money and whatever. And that just made me feel so much better because I'm like, if I can edit videos really well, but like eventually there's going to be a point where I need to hire people to edit for me because I can't consistently put out 3 TikToks every single day, like doing all the editing and stuff, because that's what I'm doing right now. Uh,
Damn.
but it's like, even if I don't have the craziest animated text ever or like the perfect B-roll for it or whatever, like if I have 3 hours of my day freed up every single day, like that is going to outweigh that 30% of the time, or the 30% of the quality that's missing. And with the right person, that quality will eventually go up anyways. But like I just want everything to be super accessible. And that's kind of been my whole mindset with artists. And that's honestly one of the most challenging things about underground retreats as well, is like since I started it, I've basically always lost money on the events. Like not a lot of people know that. Like I literally lose somewhere between $1,000 and $3,000 every time I host a retreat.
Jeez, man.
And every single one is sold out, but it's because I want to provide like the greatest experience for artists. And that's how we've built a fan base up to where it is, because I'm not sitting here trying to charge artists like $2,000 or $3,000 to come. Like it's literally $500. You come stay in a mansion for 8 days, lodging included, and you get all these cool opportunities. I'm having engineers and videographers fly out, and you get, I think I shot 300 short form pieces at our last retreat in 8 days.
Dude, that should be like that should be a $15,000 to $20,000 ticket item.
No, literally.
No,
Literally.
it should, like,
But
easily.
but the reason that I don't is because I'm so invested long term with these artists, and that's like my way of proving that to the artist is like I'm not going to charge them more than like a slightly uncomfortable amount for a lot of these artists, because this is for our entry level stuff where it's like it's not a ton of education during it, but it's a lot of like first time experiencing the music industry. And now I'm starting to introduce other events. It's like more educational or like invite only for a higher tier artist and stuff. But I'm so invested in the artist that I just take a cut of all the music that gets made there, and that's going to be my long term play with it. But it's so the artists don't have to sacrifice a bunch to be in there. And then if
to show up.
Exactly. So that is the low ticket thing, and then the higher ticket thing is like the one-on-one mentorship or like any kind of direct help with artists. But I'm just such a big believer in like not charging the artists more than they already have to pay so much for.
One thing too on this, because there's going to be somebody listening to this that says, "Wow, $500, like that's too much." And I just want to say, do you know who Tony Robbins is?
Yeah.
The big motivational speaker. He has this quote that I love. He says, humans, we have this ability, this amazing superpower to become resourceful. Our best gift is our ability to become resourceful. But a lot of the times, what we do is we find every single reason why we can't do something. We say, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I have vacation next week or next month or whatever the hell it is. And we sell ourselves as to why we cannot do what we want. And so a lot of people, like there's going to be, again, 2 types of people. There's person A who says, I don't have a lot of time and I don't have a lot of money, and so I can't do it. $500 is too much. Can't afford it. Well, I want to do it, but I can't afford it. So they don't go. Okay. And then there's person B who says, I don't have a lot of time and I don't have a lot of money, but I have to fucking do this because I know it's going to change my life. And I'm going to make sure that when I show up, I get everything out of it. And so what they do is they become resourceful and they figure it out, because I can guarantee if like somebody were to call you right now and they're like, so put yourself in the shoes of the artist who's like, this is too expensive, I can't do it. Let's say you get a call and they're like, hey, Patrick, like your mom or a loved one is in the hospital, and in order to have the surgery to save their life, like it's going to be, we need you to come up with $5,000. Like I can imagine, even if you didn't have the money, you do everything you could to find the money. You'd sell what you need to sell, you call you need to call, because you are able to become resourceful. And for something like this, $500 in the grand scheme of things is jack shit. Even if you don't have a lot of money, even if you don't make a lot of money, find the fucking money. If this is what you're passionate about, find it, make it happen. No one's going to do it for you. Okay. Whether it's this or something else, like there's always a way to figure it out and make it happen. It's never a lack of resources. It's a lack of resourcefulness. I come across this a lot. So I just I'm fucking tired of hearing that excuse. Just like, I've been in the position, dude. The first time I invested in a mentorship program, I had $200 in my bank account and I paid 6K and overdrew my account every fucking month. And I had to just work my ass off to try and make it happen. But it was worth it. 100% changed my life.
For sure.
So
Yeah, I wanted to actually talk about some of the mentorship stuff as well. Um, because I think for the longest time I was one of those people who like anytime I saw mentorship or like one-on-ones or anything like that, I just thought scam. They're gonna tell me a bunch
yeah.
of bullshit.
Yeah.
And then I decided I was at, a point where like I wasn't growing too much, but I had a little bit of extra income and it was just enough for me to be like, I guess I'll take a plunge. And I invested it into a mentorship with Brian Delamata. Do you know him?
I don't.
He's really really talented videographer. He got to start doing music video tutorials and basically trying to teach people how to use
Ooh.
these assets that he puts out. And he ended up making over $1 million selling digital products online. And I was like, he's not in the music space, so there's probably going to be like an outside perspective that I could benefit from. I paid like $3,000 for a one-on-one and access to his private community, and it
Hmm.
literally changed my life. And it opened up my eyes to like the power of having like really really great mentorship even if you're paying for it. And one of the things that kind of changed my perspective on these things being like scams or like not being like enough direct value is a lot of times it's not the direct value, but it's the connection, it's the outside perspective, and it's just like the mindset shift. And I remember hearing this example of this artist that got a studio session with Pharrell. I don't remember who the artist was, but he's like, yeah, Pharrell hit me up. He said he wanted to work because he really liked my music, so he asked if I wanted to come to his studio and like work on a couple songs or whatever. So, I decided to do it. I flew out. We worked on like 3 or 4 songs. They turned out really great. The production was amazing. I got back and then he invoiced me like 20K, which he didn't know was going to happen. But that's just like how Pharrell works. If you go to his studio, like obviously there's going to be a charge with it. So at
Yeah.
first, this artist was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to pay that because that's a lot." And he's like, "You know what? Fuck it. Like this is a huge opportunity. Like I would already know that I love the songs because we made them already. Like it already happened. Like he took the risk on me, so I'm going to pay it." And
Yeah.
then like 2 months later, because of their working relationship now, Pharrell had mentioned his name to somebody that he was in a session with at the time, or an executive or something that he was working with. And that ended up being the thing that got this original artist a deal and like completely changed his life and was
Wow.
like the kickstart to his entire career. Because he was willing to make that investment at the start. And that's what I've learned about, especially the people that offer these programs is like they have a mentor and their mentor has a mentor. Like that's how these people are scaling to these huge numbers and doing these amazing things
Yeah.
because they've already done it. They've built the framework and now you're investing enough for it to be worth their time because it, Brian wouldn't charge like $50 for this because he could just post a story and make like $1,000 off of one of his assets. So why would he take the time to help you out if he could just do it like this? So you make it worth their time, they're gonna make it worth yours. You get their framework, you figure out how to apply that to yourself, and as long as you're being very consistent and working very hard, like that is the quickest way to level up in literally any industry.
And one thing you said there too that's so important is if Ryan, the course that the mentorship program that you invested in the first time, if it was $50, I can bet you would have not have put in as much effort. Like
No, it would
people
have joined like
pay,
one call and been
yeah,
like,
people
whatever.
pay to pay attention, right? That's why
Mhm.
college is so fucking expensive because it's a scammy business, but also because like if it wasn't so expensive, you wouldn't go to class, you wouldn't push through because they make you do a lot of shit that sucks. And so people pay to pay attention, right? If it was free, you wouldn't value it, you wouldn't show up, you wouldn't do it. Like for me, when I invested in my first mentorship, that was all I had. My back was against the wall. There was no plan B, so I had to be in there. I had to make it work. There, like, and that's the best way to get anything done is to put yourself in a position to where you have to. You have to make it happen. And that's why programs and courses work. It's not because I've done a lot of mentorships. I've invested over 20K into different mentorships and stuff. Like there's not one that's like this solved all my problems or like this was the best thing ever. It's always you coming to it with like, I need to get the most out of it so that I can because I put a lot of money into it. And those are the type of people who get the best results. It's not the people who say
It's,
like, this is probably a scam. Like this isn't what they said they were going to give me. I thought I was going to have a comp or whatever. It's like, yeah, some programs maybe suck that way, but still, even if that's the case, even if you made a bad investment, why would you not try and get the most you can out of it?
no, 100%. Some of the most some of the times where I've leveled up the most have been from when I just threw myself into something that I knew I couldn't afford, or like doing something that I knew was like really stretching it with how much I was paying for something or whatever, because you put yourself in that position. It's like, okay, well now I have to act like I'm broke again and figure out how to plant all the seeds to start making me money over time. And exactly what you said, like put yourself in a position where you have to make it. And this brings me to another one of my core beliefs. There's this quote that just resonated with me so deeply. It was like, nobody or most people don't change their situation or take a leap of faith unless they're in a position where they have to. And the way that you can kind of describe that on a technical standpoint is like, if you are in a comfortable job, you're making a decent amount of money, like you're living a comfortable life, you're not going to want to take a risk to go move to LA and like potentially be homeless for a few months to like try to make this thing work out that you have a shot at doing, right? But if you were in a position where you just lost that job and your girlfriend just left you and you're like struggling to make ends meet, you're like, okay, well now I have nothing to lose, so like I might as well take the leap of faith now. Like that's when you make the change. And a lot of times taking that leap of faith and taking that big risk is going to be the thing that really carries you into the next level. Um, that's kind of like what I've done my whole life without realizing it. Because my music journey started when I was in the military. I was working at a psych ward in Alaska. That was my military job. It was
Okay.
insane. Yeah.
Literally.
And I was doing like 14 to 16 hour shifts every day. And on top of
Jeez.
that, you have so many other responsibilities in the military. Like you have to go to the commander meetings every week and you have to do all this other bullshit. And they could just have you work extra just cause, like, whatever. Like
Yeah.
you're their bitch for 6 years, right? So I'm in this position where I'm like learning how to make music, and I'm like, damn, like I so wish that I could make music instead of being in the military, because this shit sucks. Like I hate everything about it. Like I'm the money's not even great. I like you get your benefits like housing and stuff, and then after all that, your annual money that you get is like 20K at the start.
A year
It's, yeah, and that's working like
for being in the
80.
military?
Yeah, but
The
like you get
fuck?
housing included and stuff like that. So that's usually just like extra money, but you know, you're still paying car, phone, insurance,
Yeah,
like all
that's
that
still
shit.
nothing.
So yeah, I'm getting like fucking 1,400 $1,400 every 2 weeks. You know, 60% of it's gone. Like I could barely save up that much. So I'm like trying to invest and do all this other stuff. And I just realized that like this is not for me. Like I hate this. I would, be broke as fuck to not have to do this, right? So I ended up smoking weed to get myself kicked out of the military.
My
Went through
God.
this whole process. Like the TLDR is that I almost didn't get out, and I would have been stuck in the military until literally like 7 or 8 months ago. I've been out for like 4 years now, and like nothing, underground retreats and all that like would never have happened because I probably would have just stayed in. And that was like the first time where I really took a big risk, and like I didn't have anywhere to go. I lied to my parents about how I got out. I think that they still don't know actually. I told them that I'm not going to tell them until I make my first $1 million. They're probably not going to watch this, so but yeah, so it was like this whole like big risk. I had nowhere to go. I literally met somebody like 2 or 3 months before I got kicked out that I was like, okay, we're just gonna move in, start a little artist house, do all this. Um, and yeah, I moved into a house with like 5 people. We were just on that grind, making music and stuff. And like, there's been so many situations in my life where that's exactly how it's been. I've like realized that there is a risk that I can take, and most of the time I just will. And that's kind of how I've gotten to like where I am now, is because I'm passionate. I know that I'm hungry enough that I want to make something work. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but I'm going to take a risk and do what I have to do to make it happen.
Yeah, it takes a certain type of person to trust themselves so much to draw a line in the sand so deep that they can't go back. I have a I take out Chinese the other night and I got the fortune cookie and I saved this. I don't believe these things, but I was like, I love this. It's like what I believe too. It's like it says real courage is moving forward when the outcome is uncertain.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Like nothing in life is guaranteed. It's going to be hard either way. I don't know if you ever heard the choose your
Yes.
heart. It's
Yes.
hard to
Choose
be
your
broke.
hard.
Yeah, it's hard to
I
be
love it.
broke. It's hard to not honor your commitments and know that you have responsibilities and not do them. And it's hard to be a successful artist too. It's hard to have thousands of fans relying on you. It's hard to manage a team. It's hard either way, dude. Which fucking hard do you want? Like,
Right.
bet on yourself, right? Just fucking take the risk. Because what happens if you don't? You stay where you're at. It's guaranteed you're going to stay stuck either way. So which route do you want to take? You know,
Mm-hmm.
why would you not?
Exactly. And a lot of people don't realize like a lot of these like risks, quote unquote, like moving to a new place where you don't know anybody is like actually such a low risk thing. Like especially if you're like you're single, you don't have any like major responsibilities or whatever, you can find roommates like fucking anywhere. Like it may
There's
not be the
apps for that.
best
It's
situation ever, but like you're not going to be paying $2,000 a month to live somewhere. And there's actually a lot of artists that I've met that I had this conversation with. I actually just had this conversation with this guy like literally 2 weeks ago at a show, and he has this really nice job where he's like making a good bit of money, but he's like living at his means. He's not living above his means or below his means. He's living like exactly at his means. So he's making a lot of money, but he's basically paycheck to paycheck because of all his bills and responsibilities.
mm,
And it's like if you're at a point, especially as an artist, where like you have this big commitment of a job that like never lets you take time off, and at the end of every month, you literally are not saving anything, you're just wasting time. It doesn't matter how good the pay is. If you're making $1 million, but you're spending $999,999 every month, like who fucking cares? Go do the thing that's gonna make you $100 profit a month. Like
yeah.
do the thing that's gonna invest into your future and like make this like a monumental step in your life. Like that comfortability does not do anything for you. It makes you complacent and lazy.
Yeah. Which is a trap I actually fell into. Recently in December, I got super complacent and it fucked everything up, man. It's such an easy trap. It's like I thought I got over it. I was like, okay, cool. I got over it. Like I've leaned into discomfort for quite some time now. And then just like I let my ego get in the way and all this shit came up and I just got complacent. And it wasn't until like I had some shit happen. I was like, oh, I fucked up.
Hmm.
Right? I gotta continue. Like you can't stop leaning into discomfort. You have to continue forever. It's always leaning into discomfort because that's the only way to grow.
One of the things that I tell my artists all the time that don't really know what they're doing and don't know how the industry works is just do things. Like that is my piece of advice to them. And the way I explain it is like
Just do things.
you don't need to have some crazy long-term goal. You don't need to have your whole future mapped out. You don't need to have like any of it. It goes to the it's related to that book. What is it fucking called? It's super popular in the entrepreneurial space. Atomic Habits.
Oh, my
Yeah.
cabinets. Okay.
And it's the whole mindset behind the book is that systems are so much better than goals, right? If you have a good system, in theory you don't need goals. I mean, like technically you should still have goals, right? Like it's a very helpful thing to have, but having a great system is 100 times better than having a great goal, because
Right.
if you are consistent and you're able to put stuff out every single day, even if it's not like all super thought out and like has a specific direction, it will take you so much further than having a goal with a lack of actions, because
100%.
it it's like so much stuff that everybody just doesn't know about the music industry. Like you could study it every single day relentlessly, 22 hours a day, sleep 2 hours, and the whole rest of the time you're studying it. And still by the time you're 80, you're not going to know everything about the music industry. That's just how it is. And things are going to change. New trends are going to start that you have no idea what they're about. Like there's going to be all of these variables that you have no control over of. So the number one thing you can do is just do things, make content, write more songs, put more stuff out. If you have a random idea like, oh, what would happen if I reached out to a radio station? Just do it. Just do things. And as long as you do things every single day, is a very high chance that you'll be successful and at least find what lane suits you best in the music industry.
Yeah, I think for somebody starting off, that's a great strategy because that prevents the overthinking. That goes back to what we talked about earlier, like the start now, make it better later. Start
Yeah,
now, build it later, right?
exactly.
That's so good. Just do things. Just do shit. Just do it. Like Nike.
I know, right? I got to put that on a shirt. Just do things.
Just do things. I'll buy it. I fuck with
Fire.
that.
Fire. All
Just
right.
just
I'll
do
make it.
things. You gotta make it as cool as that hoodie though.
I know, bro. This shit is so fucking fire.
I know you're wearing it right now. Where did
Every
you
day.
get that, bro? Did you make that?
No, it's from this brand called Noisy. My artist Mars put me onto it. She's got such a good taste in like clothing and stuff like that. And she had a hoodie from them, and I was like, damn, this shit is so fucking fire. And I looked at their website. Everything they have is just insane, and it all matches like a specific. I don't know. It's like almost surrealism, but not quite. But dude, I love it. It's like my favorite hoodie. It's great quality. It looks like so unique compared to everything else. Like the shirts they have, the hoodies. I even got a chain from them. It's like you wouldn't get a chain like that from like anywhere else. It's one-on-one type shit, you know?
Shout out Noisy. Thanks for the plug.
No, literally, dude, I love them so much. It's a bit expensive, but it's so worth it. Like
If
it's
the
a
quality is nice and it'll last, like
yeah, it's a conversation starter. I think I think artists need to put a little bit more focus into I hate to say that they need to put more focus into their drip, but going back to what we were talking about earlier about like what makes an artist stand out, like the way you dress can really change somebody's perspective on you. And it doesn't have to be like every single day, but like if you're not good at styling yourself, find somebody that it is, like fucking pay them a little bit of money or whatever to help you put together like a really cool outfit, even if it's like from a thrift store or online shopping. Like invest just a little bit. Like don't go spending all your money on like Gucci and shit like that. Like I'm not talking about buying designer, but just dress well. When you dress well, literally like it changes so much as an artist. Like that's one of the things I notice about the retreats is like everybody's wearing like t-shirts and shorts and shit like that. And the people that stick out at the retreats are literally just the people that dress better. Like it's crazy. But like if you have a couple cool fits, like people just respect you more and it puts you in a position of like I don't know, it's just like a visual aesthetic that like changes everything. And again, I really want to emphasize the fact that it does not have to be a bunch of designer shit, but like a well
like
put
you
together
said,
fit is just
conversation starter. Like your hoodie, literally
yeah.
start a conversation. Even in when I saw it for the first time on your content, I was like, that's a fire ass hoodie.
Yeah.
That's why
And then I
DM'd
just
you.
wear that a bunch. And then somebody's like, oh shit, this dude dresses cool as fuck all the time. But literally, I don't. Like when I'm not on camera, I'm wearing like fucking pajamas all day. You know, like
Yeah, yeah.
it's only when I record content or when I'm like going out somewhere, like it's like the older generations saying, like, you know, dress to impress. Like it's a real thing.
Yeah. Because it's your first impression, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's big.
100%. Man, so many gems in this shit. Dude, if somebody listens to this whole thing, they get so much value out of it. It's insane.
Yeah.
I
It's been
love it.
good.
I feel like we both have, I've been meeting a lot of people recently where it's like we kind of have yin and yang perspectives on like marketing. Like I've been talking to so many people that it's like everything that they're really good at, I just don't know that much about. And then a lot of the things that I'm good at, like they may not know as much. And like you put those together, and it's literally it's the team thing, and it's just right, so fire. I love it.
Who are the other people in our space? Because I've been trying to do more competitor research. It's like, okay, who else like believes what I believe and like helps people do the same kind of things? And all I have, dude, like the only other guy who's big that I like don't hate is
I'm
like
gonna say
Rough.
rough music. Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it. No,
It's Rough. Like,
rough is awesome.
I'm like, okay, like I actually refer a lot of people to him. Like, dude, you should talk to Rough. Like, he'll really fucking help you out. Like, he's good. It's
Dude,
like,
yeah, I would love to actually meet him. I love his content. We haven't like actually talked before, but yeah, I love his content. It's fantastic. A lot of the people that I find are honestly like artists. I found a lot of artists that are like really good at this stuff. Like think of people like La Russell. That's like they're practicing what they preach, and that's the tough thing because there's a lot of people that are just in quote unquote music promo that are all like full of shit. They don't know anything that they're talking about because they're just trying to make a buck off these artists, trying to like sell them on a dream. But like Murata was one of the people that I feel like had like that yin yang relationship with me as far as content itself goes. Because before I talked to him, I was very focused on just doing a lot of performance reels. I don't know. Have you heard of the artist Valise before? She's not huge, but she makes amazing music, and she's had a couple viral moments. She's really cool. And she had this strategy where it was like literally record 30, 40 performance clips in one day and just post them over the course of 2 months if you're lazy. Like if you don't want to put a lot of effort into content, you could do that and they're not going to get a ton of views, but they will convert really well because you have an aesthetic, it's nice performance shots. And whatever, like it's really helpful on that front. And then that was kind of like not the main thing that I was pushing, but it was what I was trying to help artists with a lot because like that's kind of one of the things that I could be in control of is like I can help them shoot, I can
Yeah,
like
yeah.
edit the content for them. And then his stance was like so much more simple. It's just like film a bunch of B-roll and then just like slap text over it, talk about your story. And what's interesting is it's like two different levels of the fan funnel, right? Because you've got your discoverability, and then you have your emotional connection, and then you have like turning them into an actual fan, and then you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
monetizing them, right? So it's like all of these different pieces of content resonate with different types of people, and I think that's one thing that he helps me understand was like some of the more basic discoverability stuff that he's really good at because that's what he's fucking killer at. Set your phone down, walk backwards a little bit, and have text on the screen.
Those are the best though. Like in
Yeah,
terms of if we're talking about the funnel, like it literally is a funnel. Okay. So think about a funnel. At the top is that type of content. It's that discovery top of the funnel content where you're just getting people to see you. Like that's it. You just get them to see you. Maybe they interact, maybe they don't. Great. The next piece, the middle of the funnel, is that storytelling content, if that's what you want to call it, where you have that B-roll and you're telling your story about it. And that's what actually gets people to connect with you. This is also along with your stories that you post, ideally daily, like literally
oh
just
yeah,
about your life and what you're doing outside of music. That's how you build the connection. And then at the very end is like the performance clips where you're using direct marketing, like, hey, DM me this word. Hey, this song is out now. And that's like the least you do that least, but that's what converts. Like you have to have that too. You have to have all three pieces in order to move someone forward to becoming a fan.
100%. Um, do you know Damian Keys?
I fucking hate that guy, bro.
Really?
Yeah. I don't, I
So
don't, I don't know. Yes, I know.
I've watched some of his videos, and I think I had like a similar stance on some of his stuff. Like so he, I don't know, anybody that only posts on YouTube and that's their main thing, like it's I don't know. It's tough because they have to make so much content and a lot of it's just going to be like random filler shit.
Well, his stuff is good, but his actual stuff that I bought his community and everything invested in his stuff because I wanted to see what everybody else had, and it was awful.
Yeah, I could see that. Um yeah, I haven't bought into anything that he's done, but one thing that I really liked from him was a way for people to understand that funnel system a little bit easier is just think about like how how much a fan or how much just a random person is going to care about if you performed at a venue, right? So let's say you perform at a pretty big show. Each one of those funnel levels cares differently about you posting that, right? So it's like if you post like just a couple of pictures like, hey, I just performed at this venue. People who don't know you aren't going to give a fuck. They see people playing concerts all the time. Who
Yeah, they
cares?
don't care.
Somebody who's seen you once, they're going to be like, okay, cool, next. You know, somebody who likes your content is going to be like, oh, good for you. That's pretty cool. Like, they might remember it. And then the people who are like on that last level, the monetization level, they're like, oh shit, that's awesome. How can I come to the next one? And it's just like such a good way to like actually put a perspective on that. One thing I'm very big on, if you can't tell, is not only like figuring out like the mindset, but like also the technical way to put something into practice. Because I'm not necessarily a visual learner, but like having a little bit of a visual aspect helps me out a lot as well. So I always like to throw in the things that are like technical, like actual applicable situation.
Yeah, I think that's important because without the action step or like how to actually apply this good, the perspective you just shared is really nice. Like, good job, Damien. You did something good.
Right. And no,
Sorry.
that was from his video. It was like how to get 1,000 fans in 30 days or something like that. Like, I don't know. Some of it's a little corny. It's like you're not really gonna get 1,000 fans in 30 days, but you can start getting some fans in 30
You can sure
days.
try.
Yeah.
You can try, that's for sure. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe that's why I don't like them, because there's just all these false promises. It's like, really?
It's like clickbait almost.
It
How do
worked
you,
10 years ago, not now.
yeah. How do you feel about have you seen that channel No Labels Necessary?
Yeah.
What do you think about them?
I haven't watched their YouTube videos. I've seen their content on Instagram pop up.
Hmm.
What specifically are you asking about?
I was just wondering, like in general, because I feel like you're like me, you just kind of you see somebody's content and you kind of like not know right off rip whether or not it's valid, but like it's like, oh, these guys are pretty reputable or like or not. I just remember seeing this one video from them that kind of turned me off of them, but I don't know if it's a good enough uh like analysis to really know. I saw a YouTube video that was like how to break an artist, and it was two people talking to each other about it that had like two completely different takes, like what it's about. And they were saying like contradicting things the entire time. And they're like, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, what? And
What are
I
the steps, bro?
like it was crazy. It was like oh yeah, the question was like what if you had to break it down into like 10 steps, like what would it be? And it was just all like very vague and like I don't know. I didn't love it and I didn't feel like it was that valuable because they're like, okay, so first you need to make sure that you make really good content. Okay, moving on to the next thing. Now you need to run ads on the content that does really good. Okay, now the next step is you need to have a press run and get on like every page imaginable.
Wow.
It's
Thank you
like
so much.
it was like mind blowing, right? Like,
Who
okay,
would have
so
fucking thought?
step one to becoming a really big musician. All right, first you're gonna go full time. All right, next you're gonna hit top of the Billboard charts and get everybody to post you, and somehow come up with like a $30,000 budget.
Now buy my course.
Yeah, right.
Buy my course.
It was just crazy, and that's the kind of thing. Like I said, I don't know if that was like an outlier video for them or not, but it just like made me not really want to watch other videos from them. Um, one thing I really want to make sure that we talk about just a little bit in that topic is like how to tell if something is a good resource for somebody who's trying to level up as a musician, and not necessarily just the thing that's like, oh, that's clearly a scam, but like the people that might seem legit, like Damian Keys or No Labels Necessary, and like how to see if what they're talking about is like actually helpful or if it's all bullshit. Because a lot of artists put so much faith into systems like that, and it's really unfortunate. Like I remember this one artist that I was working with that I had to stop working with after a while because I realized they were entirely too stubborn and like stuck in their own ways, and they make terrible content on Instagram, like the worst. And I try to help them so much to make it better. And every time they're like, oh, but this guy that I'm paying like $300 a month to help me with my Instagram is telling me that I'm doing everything right. So like, you're wrong. It's like, oh, like how do I speak to the kids?
Right, right. I guess you don't know until you try, right? It's like, how do you know when you found the one, like the person you want to marry? You don't. You just like bet on it and you make it happen. And so I feel like, yeah, maybe I didn't like Damian Key's stuff, but he has people who gets results. So obviously it worked for some people. And so if it works for them, if you really want to make it work for you, you can make it work for you too. If you have someone that you're talking to that has absolutely no results and no experience and is not having any valuable content, if you're consuming their content and it's all shit, then yeah, don't pay them, right? But if you find value in what they say and you've applied some things, maybe they're free stuff or what you've invested in like smaller items, like that's how I made my investments. It's just like, okay, yeah, I consume their content and then I buy their smaller ticket item stuff. And then I get on a call and I ask them questions and then they sell me their high ticket thing. And then I give them my money and then I go work my ass off. And it's just like, that's how it works. And you don't know it's scary either way. Like you don't know if it's going to be a scam or not. Obviously, they don't have a business if they just took your money and ran off to Mexico. There are laws against that. Like you could just refund that, which is a whole nother thing. But like you don't know until you try. And even if it is the worst investment you've ever made, get the most you
Learn
can out
something
of
from
it,
it.
learn something from it, and go find someone else. Don't, as long as you just don't stop, right? There's never a bad, you shouldn't quit just because you had one like bad experience. Like if you've had food poisoning before, you didn't stop eating food after that.
Right.
Right.
I've been scammed so many times, especially when I was starting out as a producer. Oh my God, the
Yes. I mean,
producer industry
we
is
all have.
fucked. I paid Brandon Finessen $2,000 for beat collabs. Never got them back. Never never heard from him after I sent the payment. $2,000. I was like, damn, bro.
You pay 2K for beat collabs, bro?
Well, I started with one at like 150 and he sent it back and he said he was like in a session with Uzi and like all this stuff. I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
He was like,
yeah.
yeah, like we could just like be locked in for $2,000 and we'll just do like a couple beat collabs every month. And I was like, sure. Like I'm down with that. Like that sounds like a good use of my money. Probably like making it worth your time too. And no, he told me like, oh yeah, I'm working on one of the beats, and then he just like never messaged me back after that. I was like, damn, bro. But
Yeah,
it's been
that's
so many situations like that. Um, but I think one of the tricky things from an artist standpoint too is like so many people who are in the music promo space and the marketing space like take credit for so many things that they didn't do. Like it's tricky with the Marino thing because like I don't really know like the impact that my stuff had with him, regardless of me like getting him 20 million views. Like I didn't do the final edit on like the lyrics on the anime clips. I like recorded all the content and helped with some of the direction, but like he may have gotten those 20 million streams he got from something else. So I can't just say like, oh, I made sure he got 20 million streams on this song.
it's hard too because I mean, dude, I've had times like one of my fan funnel video is about Kennedy Ryan, who I did not work with one on one, right? I just found her system because I was using that system as myself as a producer, and I was like, oh shit, artists can use this too. I need to teach everybody this system. And so I've had people come and calls me. It's like, hey, dude, I love the work you do with Kennedy. And it's like, whoa,
Not me.
that wasn't me, man. Like, let's be clear. Like, that wasn't me. I just discovered the system. I even say that in the video, but I think that's important. And I respect that about you too, with like you saying like you didn't do the final edit on Marino's thing. So like, dude, I think you could take some credit for that. But like, I respect that a lot.
For sure. Yeah, I just mean it from a standpoint of like don't trust somebody just because they're credible. Because one of the things that I was going to mention when you were talking about like credible versus non-credible people is like there's two sides to it. Like on one side, they could have a system that doesn't work and you try really hard at it and somehow you become an outlier and you make it work. But on the other hand, it could be somebody who like really knows what they're doing. They're very trustworthy and it just ends up being something that doesn't work for you. So you try the strategy for like a year straight and you see no results. You're like, oh, this this dude's a scam, even though they might not be. So it's yeah, it's 100%. There's some the risk that goes into it. But I feel like I don't know. I feel like there's just some signs with people that are like more trustworthy, especially in the marketing space. And I think a lot of it just has to do with like how much they genuinely care about the stuff that you're putting out.
That's
Because for
exactly what I was thinking.
yeah, because for me, like I don't work with artists that like I don't really believe in. Like if I see
Right.
an artist that like clearly is not going anywhere or clearly does not care enough to put an effort into their music or their content or whatever, like I'm not going to invest my time in them because I would so much rather have an artist that's paying me to help them be somebody who I think is actually going to work out, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people that have hit me up that are like down and ready to pay like 1,000, $2,000 for like a mentorship program or whatever. It's like, yeah, $2,000 would be nice, but like I don't really
We
believe in
can't
this
help you.
artist and I don't feel like it's a right fit because I could teach you all the stuff that I know. I could add all this value to your life. I could put you in all these rooms, but if you don't put in that effort yourself, it doesn't matter to me. So I think that's probably a sign of people that are trustworthy. Is like they're not just gonna work with anybody.
I had to learn that lesson the hard way when I started back a few years ago. I started working with anyone who would pay me, right? Because I was
Hmm.
just like, I needed money, right? I fucking wanted to put food on the table. And so that's what I did. And I was asking myself, I was pouring all of my time into these artists who could not give a fuck about anything. And they would not do anything that I like recommended. They would not put in any work and they got no results. And I was like, how am I going to make this work? And so, yeah, you
Right.
have to be very selective with who you work with, is to like, can I actually help this person?
Yeah,
Do I
because
believe that they're going to get there?
if you can help them, your your thing that you charge $500 for is now going to be worth 2,000, 3,000, and
Yeah.
once it works at that level, it's going to be 5,000 because you know that you can get people at those point to an even higher level, and you have your moral sanity covered. You know, like it's something that you can continue to build up over time, and I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. And two, there's another aspect of it, like the people who are helping out with marketing and stuff like that, like they're on a path similar to you. Like just like an artist is trying to get more streams, you're trying to figure out how to help people best. So you're not fucking marketing Jesus. If it was marketing Jesus, it would be like $50,000 at least, plus like 10% of everything you ever make. If they know surefire that it's going to work, you know, like
Right.
we're all learning. I'm learning more about the monetization side. I'm learning more about like fan building. Like this is a learning process for me just as much as it is for another artist. But there's so many systems that I put in place that have worked up until this point that I charge what I charge to help artists out. And as that continues to go up and I level up, like, you know, I work with high level artists and I provide more value. So just remember that the people who are helping you out are also on their own path of learning and discovering new things and investing with them and not just trying to like see what they can give you right away, and continuing to build up is like one of the best things you could possibly do.
I love that. I think betting on the person that you're investing in is big too. It's like if you can see that they're passionate about it and they believe what you believe, and like you can tell that they genuinely want to help you, that's the person to go with. Because even if they're not, like, I'm gonna use myself an example. I don't have as much credibility as like Ruff does, right? I don't make as much content as Ruff does. I don't have a lot of stuff that he has. He has a better team. He's gotten people better results. But people have come from him to me because of strictly what I believe in, who I am and my passion. And I like ask people like, well, why? Like, why not go with that option? That's obviously the better option for you. And it's like, well, dude, because I believe like in you, like your confidence, your personality. I want to invest in that long term. Maybe you're not there yet, but I know you're going to get there. And that's the most rewarding thing is like, I'm sure you've heard maybe similar things like people investing in you is because of who you are and what your long-term vision is and what you want to build. That's the biggest
Yeah,
thing. That's probably the more exciting thing to be a part of too. I'd rather
for
be a
sure.
part of something where I can like build something into a longer term vision rather than something that's already established and like I don't have as much control or say over.
Dude, yeah, my best artist relationships are the people that like knew me from when I was making beats in Alaska and
Yeah.
witnessed the whole come up and watched me start underground retreats from nothing and watched me start the producer crate and producer next out and like all these things and build them up from nothing and get to a point where I am now. And they're like, okay, well, I can see that you're actually giving a fuck about yourself and the things that you're doing. So like, let's invest. And every single time that is the best, the best client experience I ever have, because there's people that are passionate about it. Like they've stuck around long enough to see my come up, so they're probably going to stick around long enough to see their own come up because they see it's
Yes.
possible.
Yes.
And it's just a beautiful thing, man. I love working with other people that are very passionate. Like even if you don't have the best results right away, like you know, like you're learning with them, and if there's passion and there's drive and you're consistently just doing things every single day,
Just do things.
it works. And I think another, shifting over just a little bit, another thing that a lot of artists realize or don't realize is that like you don't have to be this multimillionaire to be like super successful or like to quote unquote make it, right? Like I talk about this a lot. It's like for me, if I were to have locked in on just one thing, like just gotten really fucking stupid good at making beats and figuring out how to send them out, I probably would have way more placements than I do now. I'd probably be making way more money.
Yeah.
But I that's not my goal. That's not what I love doing every single day. I
Right.
don't love just waking up and making beats. I love videography and I love editing and I love doing artist mentorships and I love being so diverse. Like I'm totally okay being a jack of all trades, master of none, because even though I'm not making fucking 20, 30K every single month. I am at a point where I'm comfortable. I can live off of the things that I do, and I can say no to most of the projects that I don't want to do because I am such a big fan of the journey and the process that if I'm making enough money to sustain myself, what else do I need? I only need to be able to wake up every day and do things that I love and let that go as far as it's going to take me. And I think a lot of artists should have that standpoint too, because if you're at a point where like you're barely able to be full time off of music, but you're not like, huge billboard charting, like, dude, that's great. You don't have to work a 9 to 5. You can just wake up and make
You
music.
won, bro.
Yeah. If
You
everybody in the
won.
world doesn't know you or love you, like who cares? Like you were waking up, doing what you love, and you're connecting with people by being vulnerable and by putting yourself out into the world. Like what is more validating and amazing than that?
Amen. True.
100%. Shit, man. I think we're coming up on 2 hours
2 hours.
here.
Yeah, I do have to jump at 11.
Yeah, I gotta finish editing my reel for my 30-day series. I'm doing a 30-day series on how to have a perfect, quote unquote, perfect song rollout.
I've been following. It's
Oh yeah.
very good.
How have you been liking it so far?
Yeah. I like the you made profile optimization so simple, which I appreciate.
For sure.
I think I've overthought that myself. And like when looking at other people's profiles, it's like so easy to overthink. It's just like, hey, I'm gonna take that going forward, what you said, like just do things. Just do something. Get data, make it better later. Just do things. I love that. Like literally put that on a shirt because I need that. I need that fucking tattooed on my arm.
Dude, this call has inspired me. I'm going to. I've been wanting to make some kind of like piece of merch or something that has like a cool catchphrase on it. And I've thought the last like 2 years about doing it, but I've never really had like the thing. And that's been the one like very consistent phrase for me recently. So I think you've inspired me. I'm gonna do that.
Yes. I'll be
I'll
your
hook
first customer.
I'll hook you up with a free shirt. I got you.
Let's go. Appreciate it, dude.
Hell yeah, man.
Well, yeah.
Well, amazing call. I appreciate you taking the time on. Is there any last minute things you want to say? Anything you want to plug that you're doing or working on right now?
No, nothing. I did have a question for you, whether you want to edit this out or not. But the event, the challenge that we're doing, I think you would be an amazing person to come on and speak. I don't know what it's going to look like fully fleshed out yet, but if you're open to the idea, it'd be online. Would you like, and I think we all serve this like a very similar audience. We're going to have Ben from Kaizen there. We're going to talk about the fan funnel system in depth. And like, if you have something that you'd want to offer, or if you need to be paid like rev share based off of our offer at the end or whatever, we can talk about that too. But if you're open to the idea, I think you'd add amazing value to it.
Dude, I'll just do it off the strength. That's cool. I'm down.
Bet. Cool, dude.
100%. I'm
I'll
always
give
open to
you,
shit like that.
I will send you details later this week.
Oh yeah, cool. Also, if you want to join my community as well, I can throw you in there
Yeah,
for sure.
that'd be great.
We we're kind of similar format. Like we do weekly live calls about different topics and stuff like that. So you see like all the different shit that we talk about. See if any of it's applicable to the stuff that you're doing.
Do you guys have like, okay, so your high ticket offer, is it like a one-on-one mentorship, or is it a group mentorship, or what does that look like for you?
Right now it's a one-to-one. I have two different levels of it. One is like a 3 month program where we have typically 4 calls is how I do it. So it'd be like an introductory call, and then I'll take that between then and the second call to do like a full evaluation, like brand analysis of what you're doing, and
Hmm.
then come up with some ideas for you and help you like figure out how to start implementing them. Then the
Hmm.
next two are kind of like feedback on how you've been doing with those so far and like how to pivot. So if, instead of just being like, okay, here's all this knowledge, good luck, then it's like, okay, I'm going to teach you all this stuff. You're going to apply it. Then we're going to have our third and fourth call and we'll talk about how it's going so far, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, and how we can either pivot away from it or double down on it to make sure that it's working. And then the other level of it that I do is I'll do like a 2 to 3 day in-person one-to-one where it's a lot more high ticket, but like we'll get a
Yeah,
B&B, we'll work on some music, and we basically just live together for the weekend and talk about a bunch of cool shit
that's cool.
for sure. Yeah, I
That's an
love the
experience.
in-person stuff so much.
I want to start doing something like that. Like how you have underground retreats. Like I want to start. I don't know what to do though. Like I just do things um like more in-person events because I haven't done any. I feel like that's where the value is.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I love the in-person stuff. If you want to, we could figure out some kind of like collab event or something. Like I said, I'm trying to get into a lot more of the like uh educational retreats as well, where it'll be like a little bit higher ticket and then it's like just mentorship and workshops the whole week rather than like just random like music making and stuff.
What we could do, and this is just speaking freely, like I don't know how you feel about this, but we could go in and show how the fan funnel system works and then get people signed up with something like Kaizen for free so that they can start implementing it right away. Because that's the goal of the challenge too. Just to get as many people as possible involved in like, hey, here's the tools, here's how to use them. Like, be free. Like, go.
Right. No,
Do
for
what you need
sure.
to do now.
Dude, yeah, I think that both you and I would be total idiots not to work on something together.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Okay, cool. I'll send you details on that and then like we can just brainstorm going forward. But yeah, good stuff, dude. This was a great conversation. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Yeah, super appreciate your time. Like I said, thanks for all the insights. Definitely a lot of amazing perspectives, and yeah, I'm excited to see what kind of value people start to get out of this and how they start implementing it.
Yeah, me too. Hopefully people get something from it. They have to. It's a good
No,
call.
for sure. Hell yeah. And if you're listening and you made it this far, thank you. You're amazing. And it takes a special person to stick things out, you know, even when it's just like Q&As or interviews or podcast episodes or whatever the fuck. You stick those things out, you are the top 1% of learners.
Yeah, 1% of people will watch this entire video. You can put this at the beginning of the video. If you want to be in the top 1%, watch the entire video. Guaranteed.
Literally.
99% of people
That's
won't.
it.
You'll get distracted. You'll fuck off and go do something else. 1% of people will watch the whole thing. Guaranteed.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Cool, dude. Peace.
Awesome. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.